bringing Israel to the world. This is IBN News.
With News of Israel, I'm Susan Michaels. Following last week's announcement of the U.S. brokered peace deal, Israeli President Reuven Rivlin said he has invited Crown Prince Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed to visit Jerusalem. In a tweet, Rivlin said he had sent an invitation letter, then went on, "I am hopeful that the agreement between our countries will help build and strengthen the trust between us and the peoples of the region, bringing economic benefit and regional stability. The deal with the UAE has suspended plans in Jerusalem to carry out annexation of areas in the West Bank. Senior White House advisor Jared Kushner said this week that the United States will not consent to Israeli annexations for some time, preferring to focus on the Israel-UAE normalization deal and wider regional peace efforts." Speaking to reporters from the Middle East, Trump advisor Jared Kushner said of the Palestinian leadership, their credibility is just really falling to an all-time low, and even people who want to help the Palestinians are just saying that you can't help people who don't want to help themselves. Kushner delivered his assessment in a conference call discussing last week's U.S. brokered accord between Israel and the United Arab Emirates. Palestinian leaders condemned the UAE's agreement with Israel last week as a betrayal of their cause. Kushner said the world was starting to block out the noise coming from Palestinian officials, calling their responses just so predictable and illogical. In an effort to reduce tensions and prevent a new round of cross-border violence between Israel and Hamas, Egyptian mediators arrived in the Gaza Strip early this week. The urgent visit came as hostilities broke out along the Gaza-Israel border following months of calm. Recently, Hamas-affiliated youth groups have fired incendiary balloons into Israel, setting stretches of farmland ablaze. Israel responded with airstrikes on Hamas military sites, banned Gaza's fishermen from taking to the sea, and shut the main commercial crossing into the territory. And Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said this week that Israel is working to establish direct flights between Tel Aviv and Abu Dhabi, which would fly over Saudi Arabia's territory. I'm Susan Michaels.
IBN, Israel Broadcast Network.